Hey everyone, Pastor Wes here with you on Wednesday night. Last week we had ended talking about how when you put Jesus first in your life, you will not regret it. And it all has to do with what Paul's been talking about on how he crucifies his flesh daily. And it's because of his intimate relationship. It's because of his daily identification with Jesus Christ and the meaning behind his cross that Paul was able to write these words to the church at Philippi. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I don't want you to misunderstand this verse, because a lot of Christians, this verse has become just a cute little saying. It's nice sounding, but I've met very few believers who take it literally and actually comprehend how to live in full identification with Jesus Christ. And these are believers who are going to experience the full power or the fullness of his power. Paul was in that category. See, for him, the words he penned, it wasn't just some cute saying to live by. He knew that he was attached to a pole that could hurl him higher than he could ever get on his own, and hurl him further than he could ever get on his own. In fact, it hurt him so high that he wound up in the third heavens. But don't misunderstand what I'm saying. This happened not because Paul had a whole bunch of faith, but rather because Paul believed that Jesus Christ had faith in himself. He believed in the faith of the Son of God, the faith that Jesus had in his own ability. The Apostle Paul taught us that it is Christ in him, it is Christ in you that produces faith for victory. In his letter to the church at Colossae, he wrote, "To whom God willed to make known what the riches of his glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory." Paul's goal for every believer that he was ministering to, for every believer that he was encouraging, was that Jesus Christ would be manifest in their mortal bodies. He knew that when Jesus Christ is made manifest in a believer's life, then the believer begins to function supernaturally rather than naturally, because believers have access to the abundant life that's promised in Scripture through the abiding of Christ in you, abiding with Jesus Christ. And I cannot emphasize this enough, because what keeps Jesus Christ from being real, what keeps him from being made manifest in your life, is when you live for yourself, when people live for what they want, what they desire, instead of him and what he wants and what he desires. It's when you don't die daily. It's when you don't take up your cross and follow him. It's when you're not crucified with him on an ongoing day-to-day basis. And this is the single most greatest deterrent to experiencing all of the supernatural power and victory that God has in store for you, because as long as you're living for yourself, then the cross just remains this distant thought from an even more distant past. And you will not fully maximize the life that you were made to live. And let me say this, you cannot identify with the cross just by following rules. You cannot identify with the cross just by following rules. See, I'm not a Christian because I don't do certain things, or I'm not a Christian because I do certain things. I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, I'm a follower of the Lord, I'm a disciple of the Lord, all because of what he did. And it has nothing to do with what I do or don't do. It doesn't have anything to do with rules. In fact, the cross did away with an entire system of rules, and it replaced it with relationship. And there are just things that religion and rules will not do for you that relationship can do in your life. You cannot achieve this type of victory or this type of access to power by checking off a list. It has to be done through a love and a relationship that honors and trusts in Jesus' belief in himself and what he has accomplished on your behalf. So to say that the cross alone is really not enough to diminish what the cross attained, and to add anything to the cross, being works, being self-righteousness, duty, or whatever else, is really to nullify the power, the fullness of his love for you. And I know that's a graphic way to look at what you think you might be doing to live a Christian life, but you must understand that the cross accomplished everything for you already. To add to it is to lessen what Jesus already did. Paul followed up after his verse on being crucified with Christ with this thought. He said, "I do not nullify the grace of God, for if righteousness comes through the law, then Christ died needlessly. So to nullify something is to cancel it out. So when you pursue religion over relationship with Jesus Christ, he says you're canceling out the grace of God in your life, the awesome gift that the cross of Jesus Christ accomplished for you, for what the cross achieved for you. And I want you to think about this. God is free to rain down his grace upon you because of what Jesus did on the cross, not because of anything that we do. We have hope simply because Christ is in us. Christ in you, the hope of glory. We'll pick back up here next time. Until then, I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you then. God bless you.